This is the Aldora Devlog. Let us begin. Okay, so when it comes towards everything from yesterday, I got to work on the dialogue system. Now this is a very fairly straightforward system compared to like the questing system and also the vendoring system as of yesterday, and now we can jump in towards the game as a whole and just have a gander at everything else. What we want to do is make our way over towards this guy, and we now have a traveling trader called Raoul. If we use our interact key, which is number 3, basically everything's going to run off of number 3, and if I move my webcam just over here for a second, we can have a gander and he will say lovely weather, Raoul traveling trader. Now the UI doesn't look overly miraculous at this moment in time. I wanted the base functionality. This is because I wanted it to show his portrait on there, along with also stating his name, his sub name, and also the text that he's about to display. This means that he can say multiple different things, and I programmed it in a way that I can add multiple things that he can actually interchange with, so he won't always say the same thing, because that's one thing in games I really find really repetitive, and for me personally just annoys me. And I remember running around like Pokemon when I was younger, and I'd ask the same NPC the same thing, trying to find out where to find like specific things. And I thought, let's implement this into my game where I can have multiple different types of dialogue, and then depending on loads of factors I can actually set that up to be different, and then you can find out things by, you're basically going to get rewarded for actually communicating with NPCs. He does have multiple different ones that it comes on, and I'm actually considering half putting in the body into this as well, so it can clip over as well as everything else, so it's not just the face. Now it would be cool if I animated it to actually speak on the actual screen, however we'll just stick with this at this moment in time. Pulls up the face that he's using, and then it will show it up there and everything else. You can just close it and then go back to the game. Jump out of this and I can then jump in towards the actual dialogue NPC. Now I've made it so the dialogue NPC, I can actually change it in world, so I can then pull him up on the details panel, and then I can actually change his dialogue on here, so I can bring this in and add my own dialogue, change the name, change everything about him on there, and then I can just go about that. Or I can then change it as I can just change the literal sprite up in here with a new NPC character actor, and then change everything through that. So what's going on here is we have the array, and he will say either lovely weather today, copper ore can be used to create X, and the orcs to the north of here are causing a problem. That is just an example, and I'll give you an example of everything. I just name his name and everything to that effect. We go into here, and when it comes towards actually creating his dialogue option, it will take the dialogue array and then it will force it into the dialogue UI. At this moment in time, it doesn't look overly appealing, does it? And what it will do is just break up that array that we're sending through, and then it will just do a for each loop and then have a random integer select the dialogue option, a random dialogue option within the dialogue array. So it will just select one of the things in that array, and then it will say it to the person. Now I can take this a step further if I really wanted to, and then have it based on a load of conditions. So I could take the quest log component that I created, and if a certain quest is completed, he could say another line of dialogue. This is why I want this dialogue NPC, is because Elementalist Thron, which will be in the game, he will be having multiple different things towards the elementals and going about getting your spells and everything. So when it comes towards like the literal way in which he's actually communicating to the character, speaking to everyone and everything, he'll be based around about here, and we can then gain quests and everything. But you're going to need to speak to Thron, and by speaking to Thron means that I can then complete other objectives when it says go speak to this person Now we've got a dialogue actor that brings up a piece of dialogue. You can use that to complete said quest. And that's fairly easy in order to do, as I made a literal dialogue component to go in here, and with that dialogue component I can then just send an objective call for that quest to be completed. Dialogue option is now complete. What is there left to do? There is a hell of a lot to do. I was overviewing my sheet. I've got my day job today, so I want to work a bit more on the nodes. So when we were talking about mining nodes and everything, I will need to make up the herbalism ones, I will need to make the fishing one nodes up, and also I'm going to need the logging ones, the basic ones for the demo of the game. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. I've got to sketch those up and then start creating them, and then when that actually happens, I can actually build into that, and then I can then build that forward and then add the additional node code for the gathering profession and then get started on that. That means that I can then go forward and just get all of the gathering profession done. So like literally that is done for the demo, and then we'll come back to all of that for finesse, making it look nice, have little random effects and everything when you're doing stuff. That's why when you mine at the moment and you use your interact key, it just doesn't do anything, and there's no animation playing because I'm putting those off to get the core system sorted. Other than that, that is pretty much everything for today. I would like to know your feedback on this one and anything that we could improve. Overall, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.